That's perfect. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are tuning in from the world today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so pleased to have you here with us as we launch the SDG Innovation Accelerator for Young Professionals. My name is Bruna Elias, and I'm the SDG Innovation Accelerator Manager at the UN Global Compact. Before we get started, I want to kindly remind you to keep your microphones muted and use the chat function if you have questions or if you'd like to connect with other participants. We also have Spanish and Portuguese translations. So if you want to enable simultaneous translation, please click the interpretation button that you see in the control bar at the bottom of your screen, and then you select your language. Perfect. So thanks again for joining us today. This is, in fact, a milestone moment for us here at the UN Global Compact. We are extremely proud of this program that engages participants to rethink the business models and innovations and identify new opportunities for their companies through the SDGs. Far from being fearful of an uncertain future, I know that the majority of us here on this call are very optimistic about the impact of innovation. There is absolutely no limit to what entrepreneurs can achieve when becoming change agents within their own organizations. And I believe that most of you on this call today know about this accelerator program and what to expect. But for those of you who don't, I invite you to join our website and connect with us to learn more about the various learning components and opportunities available for our participants. In the next hour and a half, we will hear from inspirational professionals and activists on ways to drive innovation and embrace this entrepreneurial journey. This virtual meetup will really be an opportunity to showcase how entrepreneurs continuously innovate, how they continuously improve to launch groundbreaking products, implement better processes, and conquer emerging markets. To begin with, let us all hear from Sandow Jambo, Assistant Secretary General, Executive Director, and CEO of the United Nations Global Compact. Let's go.
Friends, colleagues, and distinguished guests, welcome to the global kickoff of the SDG Innovation Accelerator for Young Professionals. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today, and I'd especially like to thank our local networks for your ongoing commitment to this vital initiative. Now more than ever, we must nurture a new generation of principled and innovative business leaders. Dear friends, we already know that the time for business as usual is over. And as we approach the halfway point of the SDG agenda for 2030, the stocktake is indeed sobering. Unprecedented global crises, economic instability, food and energy shortage, escalating conflicts, and the worsening impacts of climate change are eroding the last decade of development achievements. Humanity is indeed at a code red. For the second year in a row, the world is no longer making progress on the Sustainable Development Goals. Against the backdrop of global crises, business ambitions and innovation have fallen short of the scale that is needed to achieve the SDGs. The business community can and must do more. And that's why this midpoint of the SDGs is an apt time for us to reflect, re-energize, and focus on delivering on the 2030 agenda. After all matches are won in the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, these challenges are indeed daunting, but the good news is that today's young business professionals are more connected, more mobile, and more engaged in corporate sustainability than ever before. Today's young professionals have the potential to innovate, create, and bring new energy and new wisdom to traditional business systems. I have seen this firsthand. But of course, our young innovators must be given the tools to support them and to allow them to succeed. We created the SDG Innovation Accelerator for young professionals to help companies empower young talent to create the products and services and technologies needed to advance sustainable development. We believe that through this bottom-up approach, companies can develop breakthrough solutions with both social and market value. At the same time, they can nurture and develop a new generation of sustainable business leadership. Participating innovators learn from some of the brightest minds around the world. They receive mentoring, increase their networking opportunities, and collaborate with other companies and sustainable development experts. Formerly known as the Young SDGs Innovators, the first 3 rounds of this program reached over 500 companies in 25 countries and resulted in more than 300 solutions. In addition to the tangible outcomes and market value of new products, services, or business models, the program has stimulated breakthrough shifts in business culture and is helping to grow the corporate sustainability movement. Innovators, now is your chance to be the agents of change that the world so desperately needs. Now is the time to unleash your creativity, think outside the box, indeed create a new box, and disrupt the industries for the common good. We look forward to seeing what you create. All the very best. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sanda, for sharing with us this message since she was not able to be here with us in person. I also echo her invitation for all of you present on this call today to really unleash your creativity and think outside of the box and disrupt your industries for the common good. Now I'd like to give the floor to Olivier Lazare, Vice President for Youth and Social Impact at Project Management Institute, for his welcoming remarks. Olivier, over to you.
Thank you, Bruna. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's very impressive and humbling to see so many people gathered here with the willingness of not only thinking out of the box, but breaking the box. But maybe while breaking the box, you will finally realize that there is no box. In fact, there are only the boxes in which we put ourselves. The way of realizing that is to try to understand that we all have an impact on our environment, whatever our actions. It's up to us to shape that impact, either in having a positive contribution or no contribution at all. No contribution at all being negative by definition. What we're trying to achieve at PMI, the Project Management Institute, is to bring these competences, these tools, these skills, which allow you to actually shape your ideas into reality. Once you have that power in your hands, there is no limit to what you can achieve. There is no limit in breaking that box. There is no limit in the positive impact you can generate. Everything you do has an impact. Everything you do can be looked at through the lens of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. This is what we do in our organization. Whatever our products or services are, whatever our initiatives are, non-for-profit, philanthropic, or commercial, we looked at them through the lens of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, all 17 of them. Be enablers, be actors of the change, be actors of making the world a better place, change your dreams into reality. You have here the immense opportunity to be equipped with the passion, tools, elements that will allow you to do that. Enjoy the ride, buckle up. It's only the beginning of your journey. Thanks everyone for being there. Thanks everyone for participating into that. And we hope to support you to the best in that innovator's journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivier, for this call to action, and thanks for joining today's call. Now, I'd like to give the floor to Anita Varshney, Global Vice President for Strategy and Sustainability Engineering at SAP. Anita, the floor is yours for your welcoming remarks.
Thank you so much, Bruna. And it is very difficult to follow up such an inspiring message from Sanda and from Olivia yourself. I welcome all the participants who joined the call virtually from all parts of the world for this very important program, which I think our businesses absolutely need today. SAP is a super proud partnership for UN Global Compact for the last 5 years, where I've personally been involved in many of the initiatives that UN Global Compact has been driving together with the private sector, ensuring that we are taking sustainability to its heart. And it especially makes me proud that we bring on all the businesses like 3M, like partners like Accenture, who are joining this essential initiative from UN Global Compact, ensuring that the world's biggest leaders are moving on their sustainability ambitions. SDG Ambition was one of the programs where we jointly launched, and I'm super proud that several of you, as you go through this program, you have several mentorship opportunities, networking opportunities to actually learn from all these leaders who are part of these local networks, but have also contributed to UN Global Compact's overall mission for last couple of years. I want to go back to what Olivia started to say, and that's about what makes you all so different from us who are trying to solve and scale on our sustainability solutions. I would always say that we are not ready for what is in front of us. And that's why we need all of us to put our thinking hats on to really look at solutioning and ideas, whether it's through technologies, whether it's through working together. And I think it's the urgency for all of us to act together. So we are honored that UN Global Compact thinks that SAP is an incredible partner to come together in this program so we can inspire all of you as you start on this journey. And as Olivia said, right, this is only the start. We have so much to do and so little time. We have halfway, it's already done. So what can we do together to get moving? And we work with businesses, the top brands every day. And this is what is needed, right? The passion to get to those sustainability challenges, embedding them right into every leaders on how they actually live the sustainability in their daily jobs. And it can only happen when we have minds like yourself coming up with the most innovative ideas to our business leaders. So SAP is very thankful that we are part of this amazing program, and we look forward as you embark on this journey on sustainability. Thank you, Agnes.
Thank you so much, Anita. What a beautiful way to start this session. I would just like to flag that we are aware of the issue that we have reached maximum capacity. We did not expect this, to be very honest, but we are working on solving this as soon as possible. This meeting is also recorded and will be live streamed and posted on the Academy platform afterwards. All right. So moving on from those beautiful welcoming remarks, I hope you're all ready and excited for the discussion that is coming next with the co-founder and director of Renee Cosmetics, the one and only Ashka Goradia-Gobel. Ashka will be interviewed by Caitlin Casey, Senior Manager for Global Operations at the UN Global Compact. Caitlin joined in 2013 and has worked in roles focused on corporate sustainability leadership. She has led the development of tools and resources to help companies understand and integrate the sustainable development goals into their core business practices. These initiatives, some of you might be familiar with them actually, include the Blueprint for Business Leadership on the SDGs, the SDG Pioneers Campaign, and most recently, the SDG Ambition Accelerator. Since 2019, Caitlin has served as Senior Manager for Global Operations and working to effectively scale our global programs through the 64 Global Compact local networks worldwide. Caitlin, over to you to introduce Ashka and lead this, I know, very powerful discussion.
Thank you so much, Bruna. And indeed, it is such a privilege today to be able to have the opportunity to speak with you, Ashka, on this occasion of launching the SDG Innovation Accelerator for this extremely motivated group of individuals who are themselves interested in innovation and entrepreneurship and critically driving positive change through their business for society. Think of no one better to kick off this conversation, so we're so happy to have you. For those who don't know, unbelievable as it may be, Ashka is an actor turned entrepreneur who has really succeeded in combining those two passions. I will ask her to tell you more about her company, Renee Cosmetics, but just so that you know, it is today a bestseller on Amazon. It has revenue growth of over 30x. She's partnered with over 200 celebrity faces, won multiple awards, and really has been embraced by so many consumers in India and worldwide. I think that goes on top of your extremely successful acting career, and we are so excited to hear about that journey that you went through from acting to entrepreneurship. So with that, that may be a great place for us to start today. We'd love to hear more about that journey that you went on. What inspired you towards entrepreneurship? And if you could tell us a little bit more about your company.
Firstly, I would like to start with Caitlin. Thank you for a wonderful introduction. It's an honor to be here with all of you from different parts of the world and doing such wonderful things, creating services, products, technology in order to, bring ease to the society and being sustainable at the same time. So I'm really, really honored, humbled, and kind of a bit nervous too to share this space with you all. So thank you for your patience that you will eventually be showing to hear me out. For your first question, Kathleen, I've been an Indian television actor for over 18 years, and I have 6,000 hours of programming. And with such a long journey that I spent being an actor for almost 18 years, the very first thing that I did was put on makeup to be in that particular character. And eventually I realized the relationship of makeup to that with people and why there is a change needed in the way we see products, use products, and feel about these products. I started Renee in 2017 with our very first product being eyelashes. In India, eyelashes was not a very big market, but with digital media, we are now getting to see so many different trends and so many different things from across the world. And naturally, women desire to achieve those things at an affordable, sustainable way that is proposed to them. I started with 3-dimensional eyelashes, and my first objective was to ensure that women are able to use this beyond 20 times, because this is then fully sustainable for me to start a brand, to make noise, and to create a category in India that never existed before. Starting with that, in 2019, I repartnered my company with my school friend, who was a big FMCG and D2C name in India. He has launched multiple brands. Having partnered with these two gentlemen, Ashutosh Walani and Priyank Shah, we were able to come to an understanding that we want to create Renee on the standpoint of being innovative. Innovative in terms of packaging, innovative in terms of design, our communication, the way we educate our consumers, all of this. And our second breakthrough was Fab 5-in-1 lipstick, where we realized that people need to start using color cosmetics where they are getting a little bit more, but they are also able to reuse the packs that they enjoy creating looks from. And that's how Renee started. People accepted our products really well. We were appreciated. Our efforts towards innovation was appreciated. And we've raised over 35 million in the last 2.5 years. We are clocking 30 million in sales and revenue annually. And we just received our $100 million valuation. So that's a little bit about Renee from India.
That is an incredible growth story. Thank you so much for sharing it. Knowing that everyone joining this call today is really interested in that entrepreneurship and how we get started, could you share a little bit more about how you started the business? What was the process? How did it go from this idea that you saw into this successful company that you just described?
It actually started from thank you for your second question though. It started from a standpoint where I was sitting with a couple of my cousins and they were surfing through Instagram and showing me different makeup looks that they wanted to achieve. And they're like, this product is expensive, or this is a salon-oriented experience. And how do we get that salon-oriented experience if we wanted to do this on our own? And that's when the whole idea of creating those three-dimensional eyelashes came into play. It's never easy when you have an idea. You have to start looking for people who can actually help you make that idea come alive. So searching for vendors, ensuring that the product that I wanted was, because every eyelash is hand woven and it's not a machine output. So it was tough in the beginning. It took me about a year to launch my first line of SKU, but after that, it became easy because the idea of bringing things together was way more clearer than my first product. Launching it on all online platforms. We did not have an offline visibility for the first 3 years of the business, but online we were doing really well on Amazon, Flipkart, which is an Indian online service to buy products, and that's how it really started. Now we have about 1,000 stores across pan-India. And we have exclusive brand outlets we are present on 17 airports and about 7 cities.
That's incredible. You started already to talk about the ways that innovation is really embedded into your business from the start, and then through those elements of design, packaging, communications. Why is innovation such a core part of your business? How do you sort of view it and think about it in your daily work?
It's important because India is one of the fastest growing economies. The consumer are expecting something new every single day. When you have such big players already in the color cosmetics industry, it kind of becomes challenging to be out there and not go unnoticed. And so if you are going to put all your efforts towards innovating things that will bring about an easier user experience, convenience, affordability, and keeping in mind that you're packaging this in a manner that the consumer is able to finish the product. And so these kind of things were really important for us to stand out in the crowd and give people a little bit more than they already have on the shelves of these marketplaces.
What's so interesting, I think, especially about this program that's trying to use innovation as a lever for impact on the SDGs and sustainable growth. I think that it would be really interesting for us to hear, even as you are growing at such an astonishing rate, having the success, how do you focus on sustainability through your business model, right? To what extent is it a part of the work that you do? And are you thinking about it in your product design and operations?
Caitlin, yes, absolutely. It has to be conscious, and any innovation that is derived very consciously has a longer impact than a random innovation. Transparency and consumer accountability is something that has really kept us going. And this has been a key important part for us, simply because we were new into the market, we were innovating, and we needed people's trust over the brands that they've been using for years. And so transparency kind of really helped us sustain the business model that we are offering. Accountability, the fact that most of our packs are reusable, whether it's our Fab 5 in lipstick, or it's even a simple gloss that we pack in a way that a consumer is able to finish the product. Ensuring that we are using ingredients that are rightfully sourced. We are keeping this transparency with our consumers. Ensuring that while we are on the path of innovation, we are not making sincere efforts to reducing the carbon footprint, but at least not increasing it. And these small things go into a larger project and it becomes an innovative product. But a lot of sustainability becomes your core. when you're trying to innovate and be different than other people.
So it seems like you're really thinking with the sustainability from the product design through the use and life cycle. But I think if we could pick up on one point that you just came to, I'll turn a little bit to themes around entrepreneurship and disruption. How do you find ways to set your business apart and really be unique in what I'm sure is a crowded market landscape overall? How are you finding that ability to disrupt, stand out, and build a platform for yourselves?
I feel that the entrepreneurs, the younger entrepreneurs, especially after the digital media, are at an added advantage to reach to their consumer directly, to not only innovate in design, product formulations and packaging, but also innovate in the way we communicate with our consumers, because now you're directly communicating with them about the product, about how their product was built and how they can achieve a performance out of a certain product. This to me, I feel it's one of our key drivers to constantly innovate in order to reach out to our consumers. As you know, India is a very diverse country. We have our language, the way we dress, our food, everything changes literally about 100 kilometers. And so when you are catering to such a diverse market, I think how they see your product emotionally and how they make them feel becomes really, really important. And so we communicate constantly in the manner to reach our consumers the best and give them an experience that has a lasting memory.
I think one thing, if people aren't aware, you have a profound social media presence, and I think are clearly also are very savvy, right, at how to use those platforms for your business. I think we could probably all learn more around how you're using social media and other digital platforms, digitization in this age in order to reach consumers and again distinguish yourself. What do you see as the role of social media and digitization to your business?
Caitlin, like I mentioned earlier, that this is a real added advantage to the young entrepreneurs to take their idea, to take their product, service, technology, whatever industry they may want to offer their things in. I think in today's time, it's really convenient to be able to talk to your consumer directly. It also changes how you're accountable towards your consumer's reaction because you're communicating with them very directly. I do have a large space simply because that I have been on national television for so long that I collected an audience, and it's almost like a social media family. But I do ensure that while I'm communicating to my consumers through the ads, I'm not constantly driving my audience on my personal page just about my business and products. That kind of sanity has to be maintained as to what I do on my personal life versus what I do digitally through my ads and communication and marketing strategies to reach out to my consumers. So that helps build a little bit of trust in terms of that you're not pushing things on them all the time.
It's so interesting. And I think it speaks to your leadership, right? How you're viewing leadership. Maybe we could turn for a bit to your leadership and how you are leading this growing company. One thing we'd be interested to dive into is how you, as a woman in this leadership role, are building your team. What do you look for in team members? And how do you encourage your team to really innovate from within and keep that heart of innovation in the work that they're doing?
Thank you for this particular question, Kathleen. I think now in India, or probably most of everywhere around the world, there are so many women leaders. And both my partners are men, and they were from the work that we're doing now is running a D2C brand. Well, I hailed from a completely different background or an experience of 2 decades of doing something completely different, is creating characters on screen. I think now people are partnering and starting out regardless of what their backgrounds are, what their gender is. And when you're at leadership role, I personally feel that now people are viewing this as a leadership role and not as a woman leader or a man, someone who's, a men leader. But what I look for in my team is agility, how they are so constantly curious about networking in the service that they're providing to the organization. And it's strange, but it's true. I genuinely look forward to hiring people who are fearless in keeping their ideas, their beliefs, their thought about the brand, the organization, or any idea. They're fearlessly sharing this with their founders and CEOs. I think this kind of freedom is what I like to give to people I work with. I think then it's a fair team play.
I love that idea of fearlessness. We have about 3.5 minutes left, so I don't want to miss out on a couple of really quick key questions. For you as an entrepreneur, what have some of your biggest learnings been, either from your failures or your successes to date?
My biggest learning is you cannot not show up to the desk. Being an entrepreneur, you have to show up to your desk and you have to be accountable for every aspect of the company, whether it's your employees, your team members, your partners, and primarily your consumers and everything that you're trying to do. You have to be very accountable, and that kind of responsibility is challenging, hard, but at the same time, that is what drives me to be an entrepreneur, to be accountable, to be responsible towards what I'm doing and what my dream is.
What would you, to this audience here who are setting out on their own innovation journey, thinking about the experiences that you've had, what would your advice be to them as they work to drive for sustainable impact within their companies?
Well, I think everybody who's joined here are achievers, and they've done really well in what they're doing. From the country that they come from, I am still learning. I have no particular thing to share with everyone that's going to be remarkable, but I will say that being an entrepreneur and being on the standpoint of being innovative and sustainable, your relentless risk-taking ability always needs to be up there and sharpened. You cannot step back from your risk-taking ability, because that's what sets innovators and people who are working towards sustainability completely aside than the regular crowd.
I'll give you the last word here as we're at time, but I think what will success really look like? How will you know that you have, experienced that sense of breakthrough innovation? What are you looking for, and how high do you really hope to go as we aim for some ambition ourselves?
Well, we aim to become the #1 color cosmetics company of India, and then eventually we want to venture out globally. With what we offer to Indian women, I would love to be able to offer that to the women around the world and everybody who loves makeup, actually. Breakthrough for me would truly be when you have 99% of your consumers appreciating and accepting of what you propose. That is my biggest breakthrough. And the second breakthrough for me and true success is when you're expanding, when you need more and more minds to work towards your dream and goal. And when you know that you're in a position to go for that expansion, I feel that is a big breakthrough for me and the organization that I'm trying to build.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for sharing the story of Renee and your own entrepreneurial journey. I am sure that everyone here will have taken inspiration as they're setting out on their course to drive innovation and entrepreneurship internally within their company. So thank you so much for your time. Bruna, we'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your patience and listening to my story. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much to both of you, Caitlin and Ashka. It was such an inspiring journey, and I'm sure that all the participants in this room will leave more motivated and encouraged to pursue their dreams and aspirations. Thank you so much. For our next session, I am very happy to be moderating an insightful discussion with leaders and activists in the field of SDG innovation. This session will be focusing on disruptive innovations and entrepreneurship as a concept. As a reminder, we're still aware of the problem that we're currently facing with the capacity problem. We're doing our best to hopefully live stream this session elsewhere. We will keep you posted, so please keep checking the chat function in case we share a new link. We're so happy of the huge amount of participants that want to join this session. So going back to this session on entrepreneurship, we all know that the traditional models cause to the management teams of all the VPs and directors together to address a certain challenge, and it's always the same people trying to brainstorm for solutions. But we have so many more brains within an organization, and if we tap into the full potential of organizations and talents, we could be sitting on a gold mine of ideas and ideation and talent and not even know about it. It is also believed that the future belongs to individuals and companies who embrace the entrepreneurial spirit, whether that is inside or outside of a company. But the fundamental question that we all ask ourselves is, what is going to have people to get motivated and inspired to be in their highest contributions? What is going to get you fired up in the morning and to do what you all came here to do? So to answer those questions and even more, I'm very happy to be introducing my guests for today. We have Karen Wang. She's a climate finance researcher at Imperial College and the CEO of CliMind. We also have Robert Okine, CEO at Better Words Systems. And finally, Lakshmi Hiranandi, project manager at Unleash Plus and senior communications consultant at Dalberg Media. My first question will be addressed to Robert, but first let me introduce him. Robert is the founder and CEO of Better Words Systems, and he has spearheaded digital transformation projects in over 60 developing countries to really bridge inequality and advance global sustainable development. In 2021, he was named the SDG Pioneer for Digital Innovation and Inclusion from the UN Global Compact. Robert is a graduate of the Stanford University SEED program, and having personally experienced and successfully overcome inequality in societies, his vision is that the 4.1 billion people worldwide who lack access to any social protection services receive coverage within the shortest possible time. Robert, we're extremely happy to have you here with us today on this call. And my question to you will be the following. We all know that the trickiest part is really often creating a company culture that welcomes change and allows innovation to thrive. As a CEO yourself, what do you think is the most important culture change for organizations to make to really support innovation? Robert, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And greetings to everyone around the world. I'm really delighted to be joining innovators like you to share my experience. The good news is that creating a company culture that welcomes change and allows innovation to thrive is possible. People subtly create a culture based on their approach to daily interactions and tasks. At Buses, that's my company, in our journey to have the culture that we have today, our innovation enablers have been 3 items, and I'll expand on them. The first one is leadership that is committed to innovation. You all agree with me that people are motivated to innovate when leaders at all levels of the organization strive for continuous improvement and have a growth mindset. This determination can be seen in how leaders work with others to attain milestones. Leadership should also encourage a reasonable level of experimentation and trial on ideas to create a culture of innovation. I'll jump on to the second one, that is change management processes centered on innovation. Again, change drives innovation, which means that the organizational processes should be set up in a way that support change to take place. Organizations also need to educate people and create awareness about the processes that change goes through. With this in place, people know how to share their ideas effectively to drive action. When people feel heard, there is more willingness to share ideas and take action on implementation for innovation to occur because there is a shared sense of ownership and responsibility. Last but not the least is recruitment and people management that align with innovation goals. As we all know, culture is an expression of how individuals interact over time. People have diverse capabilities and qualities that can support or hinder innovation. Organizations should understand what matters to them regarding innovation and seek to recruit people who embody those values, as well as provide existing employees with learning and growth capabilities that reinforce innovation towards the company's mission. And these are some of the steps that we've taken and we still do in our organization to keep and always refine the culture that we have within the organization to achieve our mission and vision towards our partners across the world. Over.
Thank you so much, Robert. We can all learn from what you just said about the culture of innovation and calling actually innovation culture, because indeed it is. Over to my next guest today, we have Lakshmi with us here, Lakshmi Hiranandani. She's a senior communications consultant at Dalberg Media and is currently managing Unleash Plus, which is a global incubator for young entrepreneurs solving the UN SDGs. Lakshmi has a really broad range of expertise across impact consulting, capacity building, and entrepreneurship across thematic areas of innovation, education, employment, and even gender. She has worked with leaders of Fortune 500 companies, award-winning startups and nonprofits seeking to help them reach their impact potential. And most recently, she was the CEO of Swara, Voice of Women, a lifestyle brand that financially empowers rural women in India. Lakshmi, thank you so much for joining the call today. And my question to you will be about the disruptive innovations and not the culture in this case. How can disruptive innovations really accelerate the sustainable value creation that we always talk about? What do you think are the most important challenges that are created by this disruption, and how can we address them?
Thank you so much, Bruna.
I'm not sure we can hear you properly, but maybe it could be just me.
Hello?
Yes.
Is it better?
Yes, much better. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Bruna, and the UN Global Compact for having me. I'm incredibly grateful to be here representing two organizations that nurture both intrapreneurship and entrepreneurship. That's Dalberg Media, where we support media for change, and Unleash, which supports SDG entrepreneurs all over the world who have the ideas but not the opportunities to make a difference. So when it comes to disruptive innovations, I think we've heard a lot about what innovation takes from Ashika and other speakers, that risk-taking and courage is something that's very important. But I think that those who really succeed in being disruptive innovators are those who are realistic and thoughtful, who understand the constraints within which they are operating. They understand that if they need to truly make an innovation or a change, they are actually breaking a system that exists. And at the same time, they need to be really sure that breaking a certain institution is actually worth it and what is the value that it is delivering. So For example, in COVID, a lot of our habits, our institutions, our way of socializing, our way of living were broken down, and various entrepreneurs stepped up to disrupt the way that we operate. I want to give the example of an unleashed innovation, which was a medical device which could detect and diagnose communicable diseases in children using a lollipop. So by picking up using saliva detectors, they were able to identify COVID and a number of other infectious diseases. But this was only possible because of the realism that innovators took, that we are in a world where we are not going to be able to use the same methods of invasive diagnostic technology. And we created within that environment. And if you talk about the challenges to making disruptive innovations, I think we have to think about who is our innovation harming? What are those institutions that benefit from not having your innovation exist? And how are you going to address those challenges? I also want to take the example of a very large scale platform in India called the Open Credit Enablement Network, or the OCEN, which has been started to try and help small businesses who are new to credit and who are unable to display their credit worthiness to banks because they have never been able to take loans, and that kind of becomes a chicken and an egg. And what the innovators behind this incredible project did was to see what were the transactions that those small businesses did have that could display their credit worthiness, including platforms that they were already subscribed to, and they used those to underwrite those organizations and establish the credit worthiness.
This is very inspiring, and it's always amazing to see all those young entrepreneurs going into those ventures and really creating products that have a social impact and not just to generate revenues. So if I may just follow up on this with you, Robert, Lakshmi just mentioned how Unleash is working with those entrepreneurs. And we do know that even young entrepreneurs who work in companies are generally better at thinking outside of the box. Because also, as Sanda said, they haven't been accustomed to the box yet. So why it is important for you in particular to invest in youth-led innovation and to really provide resources for young people to acquire practical skills and to acquire know-how to bring their solutions to life?
Okay, yeah, thank you, Bruna. Yeah, so youth-led innovation is critical for transformation, mainly when driven by youth with a growth mindset and an ambition to drive impact. Thinking outside the box is a lifelong skill that needs to be nurtured from youth. At Buses, for example, we have most of our employees joining in at entry level from the university. Within this group, those who drive the most impact have a growth mindset and an ambition to make a difference. For youth-led innovation, organizations have a crucial role in defining jobs and opportunities we set in place to bring new talent on board and nurture existing ones. When we place emphasis on lifelong learning, we set the foundation for people to think outside the box. And that's what we strive to do with a program such as internships, mentorships, coaching, job shadowing, and rotation programs. Defining jobs around organizational goals and ambitions rather than routine or generalized description also help drive innovation through problem solving. In addition, giving a project-based approach to entry-level roles targeted at youth also allows some level of ownership and responsibility, as well as room to experiment, which are essential to driving innovation and out-of-the-box thinking. For me, approaching innovation this way at Buses has created so much value for the organization. crucial milestones for how we operate as a business today, such as obtaining ISO certification, B Corp certification, new products, service development, market expansion, were driven by innovative initiative of youth at BIOSYS. For me, it is therefore vital to invest in youth-led innovation, to provide resources for young people to acquire the practical skills, the know-how needed to bring their solution to life, because the youth are critical to the growth and expansion of existing businesses, as well as paving the way for new firms while addressing some of society's biggest challenges. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert. Always inspiring words and encouraging words. And I hope that all companies that are tuning in today really get to see the impact of entrepreneurship internally and maybe give entrepreneurship a chance within their own operations and organizations. Lakshmi, back to you. I was reading an actual study by Forbes, and I know that you mentioned the importance of entrepreneurs and Unleash and all the work that you do with entrepreneurs. But this study also concluded that the most successful innovations in the last few decades were actually invented by existing employees. So not entrepreneurs, but intrapreneurs. And in an age where also entrepreneurs are a dime in a dozen, why are intrapreneurs in particular so important?
Thank you so much for that question, Bruna. And I think this is a great question for us to consider, that entrepreneurship is perhaps something which is a bit more celebrated, and certainly it takes a lot of courage to start on your own and be an entrepreneur. But I think both intrapreneurship and entrepreneurship have a space in innovation, and they quite complement each other. And honestly, all of the things that entrepreneurs have to do, which is achieving a product market fit, negotiating, proving their value in the world, intrapreneurs pretty much have to do the same thing, but within organizations, except that the powers that they are negotiating against would be different. I think, as rightly the Forbes study has found, that a lot of institutional knowledge, the kind of resources and strength that you operate within an organization can be something that really supports innovations to go much faster. And I think that entrepreneurship should be invested in as much as entrepreneurship as one of those drivers of innovation. That institutional knowledge, those people who have been really consistent, who really know their stuff, I think that they are as much as change makers as those who have the courage to quit their jobs and sort of start from scratch. So I think that I hope all of you in this room feel as inspired that in your own right, you are actually starting something new, even when you start from within an organization. And an innovation is really about solving a problem with your full perseverance and your ability to pull in the right resources. It doesn't matter as much whether you're operating from within a support system or starting your own.
Absolutely. But the good thing and the good news is that all of our innovators in the room, the 200 participants, but also more than 600 innovators doing this program and watching this recording in the future, really have the backup and the support of their management. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been here. So thank you so much for sharing this insight. And we really hope that our innovators really get the chance to take all the learnings and the institutional knowledge that you just talked about and also apply it in their solution and take it forward. Thank you so much, Lakshmi. We're also very happy to be joined by Karen Wang. Karen is the CEO and founder of CliMind, which is laying the ground for data infrastructure to really address uncertainty and integrity challenges in the climate realm. Karen is a data scientist, data science trained climate entrepreneur. She's the first female Chinese selected as a young leader for the SDGs by the United Nations. and she's also a research assistant at Imperial College Center for Climate Finance and Investment. She was named Forbes 30 Under 30 for her startup work as a founding member of Carbon Base, and she worked at Merrill Lynch and Microsoft. And she was also a data scientist at Planto, where she built algorithm for Levy Bank. What an impressive profile, Karen. Thank you for joining us today. Now, with your background and everything that you know about data science, and we also know that now more than ever, information is available to us, and there is no actual limit to the potential of data science to inform the most critical challenges that we face. How can, in your opinion, data science drive innovation to help deliver on the SDGs? Karen, over to you.
Thank you so much, Bruna. And then hi, everyone. Really pleasure. It's a really good pleasure to join this panel. And I think I just jumped into the topic directly. So it has been really fortunate path for me, to having the experience working in both corporate and now on my own startup, and also on the research side. I would say it's a really interesting, but also a consistent path, how now looking back, how data science can support or to encourage the development of SDG goals. So for those who might not be really familiar with, so what does data scientists do, or what is data science? It's a really intersection of how to acquire and also to process and then to make a good use of the data set. So including the techniques where we can use so-called machine learning or more different computer scientist driven words. But in the center of the core is really to utilize the information better. So for my own background, my work is really into the climate change field. I've been working on the climate for the past couple of years. So this also fits into one of the SDG goals, to have the better climate future. So climate issue, I give climate as a example, as our theme today, the entrepreneurship. It's a section it's really a complicated problem because climate itself is a complex system. So how we can reduce the carbon emission in the atmosphere today, or reduce how we emit tomorrow and in the future, it can be a data issue. So this is where really fundamentally my current venture, ClimeMind, is trying to working on. So we're building this platform to first help people to understand the issue, because you can only manage something better if you can understand it well. And then beyond that, after understanding it, then the question becomes how. So data itself is a way we describe the problem. But there also can be a way how we can simulate the solution before we even start to build it. And I'll use a word of optimization. So rather than building more stuff, actually sometimes it will be a nice solution to just optimize what we already have. So it has been really data mindset driven way to tackle on the issue. And then just to quickly wrap up, I think innovation can come with many formats. So one is regarding technology breakthrough itself. But besides that, we always say in a company or different communities and ways. So everyone from arts or business or different background also has a great chance to contribute to the innovation today, including how we can create a better community, or drive certain group of people to join the initiatives such as the conference today, and then even the how to create a better business model, we can optimize the resource. So I would think no matter what kind of pathway or background all the audience had, the central thing about how to make innovation, I will use one word, just implementation, because sometimes you can only find how it works or find new ways once you have tried. So I leave it here and looking for the rest of the content.
No, thank you so much. Actually, everything that you mentioned is extremely important. And I want to follow up on this. You talked about the various skills that we need to have, but also all the technological advances that we need. But in your opinion, what are essentially very important skills that young people, young professionals, people here on this call today, what should they be focusing on right now in 2023?
Yeah, what a good question. So, like, especially mentioning this, I think that today is the last day of January. So hope everyone had a great fresh start of this unconventional year. I think the most important thing will be communication. So communication, like by that I mean like how to in a way you can like express yourself, like your thoughts, your idea, and then to take that into the actions. I only realized like communication is so important. Like after I start to work on my own startup, so the comparisons like when you're at a big group like your university or you're at a big corporate, usually you're part of the really well organized machine, like to tell you you should work on something to make sure the entire machine functions. But like when if anyone like in the audience group like having your own ventures, you might hear what I'm saying here. So I think like once you get yourself into an environment where you need to build everything bottom up, or like sometimes we'll call it entrepreneurship, then you start to realize it is a extreme hard thing to piece together. And then I later noticed the issue is like effective communication really matter. So opinion or like idea can be similar. In fact, I remember there's a statistic like there's no way like your opinion is unique, or there must be someone thinking the similar as you. But what makes it different, like outcome different, is really how you achieve it, or like the way how you communicate it better with other people. So like, yeah, I might be a little bit like too complicated explanations on this word, but I just wonder, can I emphasize more like how important communication is? So one will come from like language apparently, and the second, I think sometimes more about the culture, and then like how well you know about your audience group. So for my case, it will be my users, my like investors, or like my team or different stakeholders. And then the third thing I think is to really having the like positive they really think well about things you can achieve, especially we're talking about really tough year after 2022, where like everything can ends up with a crisis. So hopefully like this year, like there will be more opportunities ahead of everyone, but I think at the core it's really like to believe in yourself, and then to like enhance the communication skill that will be really helpful.
Absolutely. I don't think that one can disagree with anything that you just said, whether it's believing in yourself and your dreams. We also saw Ashka's conversation with Caitlin and how she started her entrepreneurial journey and how she believed in herself. And now the ripple effect that this is creating, not only in her community, but also in the entire world. We also saw from the other panelists how they are making an impact in their local communities. So we really, and especially in this program, truly believe in the power of our dreams and our ambitions. And on your communications point, I think one of the most important aspects of this program is not only coming up with a product or a solution at the end of it, but also teaching all the innovators that are watching here or watching the live stream that how to communicate this product to the stakeholders, how to pitch your solutions. And I think this is the key to success, just like you said. Thank you so much, Karen, for sharing those insights with you. We really appreciate all of you joining this panel. But before you guys leave, I only have one final last question for all three of you. What is only one piece of advice that you would give to our innovators ahead of their innovation journey that actually starts tomorrow? Robert, do you want to start?
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, so what I would say is ahead of the innovation journey, I advise our innovators to always remember their goals for joining the program and ensure they achieve that goals. Innovation requires radical collaboration, and as such, I encourage our innovators to network, engage others each other and be open to share ideas and their challenges with each other. Most importantly, enjoy the journey and keep moving forward towards your mission. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure engaging all of you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Robert. Lakshmi, over to you.
I think my co-panelists, Robert and Karen, have given you such incredible advice, so I will keep it short as well, which is that just because you have an innovation and an idea, I think don't make it about your need to put it into the world. Don't do something just for the sake of doing it, but instead do it for 3 other yous. Think about your user. Think about the utility that it's going to provide to that user, and think about why you are uniquely placed to deliver that to the world. And if you can not make it about you, but make it about 3 other kind of yous, I think that you will make an incredible impact in this world.
Thank you so much, Lakshmi. Such strong words. Karen, over to you.
Thank you. I really enjoy hearing the other panelists' the ideas on this question. Mine will be simple. So my takeaway, I think like try. There's no way you can mimic anyone's path. So I think the important thing is advice might be useful, but like sometimes do not listen to much of it. And based on this, I think like you're gonna learn to enjoying the path, the pathway, because if you cannot find a way, like trying to create your own self, like joy or happiness during the journey, then it's going to be miserable. So I think like to put yourself in the first, so like being happy, like that's the fundamental things that you can help the other people to have a better life as well. So think it's simpler, and then think sometimes just like, and then work extremely hard. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think my next task will be to write down all those inspirational things that you just mentioned and share it with the innovators so they could look at it during their journey. We know the journey is going to be a little bit long. It's a 9-month journey, but it's totally worth it. And I think that those words of encouragement would totally be needed at a certain point in time. Thank you so much, Robert, Lakshmi, Karen, again for joining this session. And I am sure that our innovators benefited so much from what you just shared with us. Thank you again. All right, so last but not least, I don't think there is a better way to end this session rather than connecting with alumni and discovering where they are in their innovation journey today. As a reminder, this program used to be called the Young SDG Innovators Program. It was launched in 2017, and this is the 4th version, but the first updated and upgraded version, if I may say, which is the SDG Innovation Accelerator. We've had more than 500 companies, more than 400 solutions developed throughout the years. And today we have 3 alumni that will be sharing their experience with you and talking to you about their innovation journey, where they are now, how they benefited from this program, and what were they working on throughout their innovation journey back then. So first off, I'm really happy to welcome Jerome Sanders. Jerome is a strategic executive advisor to Cisco's VP of Incubation with over 8 years of experience in IT, and he's currently driving Cisco's innovation culture. He also incubates new business opportunities. He works on breakthrough emerging solutions outside of the core and creates new markets and businesses for Cisco. He is a rising entrepreneur and has also served as a chairperson for First Tech Fund, a nonprofit based out of New York for the past 2 years. First Tech Fund is striving to bridge the ever-widening digital divide by empowering at-risk youth in New York. When Jerome is not innovating, which is rare, and influencing company culture, he's really a globetrotter, and he finds creative ways to connect people and technologies and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Jerome, we're so happy to have you back with us. It feels good to be in a YSIP program with SDG innovators, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's transformational and life-changing.
This is awesome. So Jerome, I'm going to give you the floor to tell our innovators and participants about your experience, your SDG challenge, the solution that you identified back then, and just tell us more about your personal learnings. Over to you.
All right. First of all, thank you. It's such a privilege and honor to be here with all of you. Just hearing all of the learnings, the stories, the challenges of all the previous speakers. I mean, I have goosebumps right now because it rings true. We all have an opportunity to, as we just heard, turn ideas and use our effective communications and turn them into action. So hello, everyone. My name is Jerome J. Sanders. I am originally from San Diego, California, and currently living in North Carolina, the Research Triangle Park, AKA the Silicon Valley of the South. I work at Cisco, which is a fantastic corporation, multinational corporation that has over 80,000 employees worldwide. And we're really focused on software and cybersecurity. And as Bruna mentioned, I've been there for 8 years and just completely enjoying the ride. At the moment, I work in our emerging technology and incubation function, where we're primarily focused on modern security applications, Web3, quantum security, and cryptography, ethical and responsible AI, aka generative AI for everyone that's excited about ChatGPT. And then a little bit more about me. Again, just excited to be here. And I was a part of Cohort 1, Team USA. So in terms of the journey that my team was on at Cisco and what we were uniquely positioned to do, in doing our research, we found that there was roughly half of the world's population that was disconnected from the internet. And being at Cisco, we maintain over 70 to 80% of the world's internet infrastructure. So we thought, how could we dream big? How could we do something that's fundamentally going to make us shiver and really dream about at night? And what we decided to do was to create a solution called Gaia, Global Affordable Internet Access. And our lofty goal was to connect the next billion users by 2030. And we prioritize SDG number 9, which is all about industry innovation and infrastructure, along with SDG 10, which is all about reducing inequalities. And again, we saw that there was this huge need, and working at a corporation where we make roughly $12 billion per quarter, again, we started to question, how is it that we're at the start of this pandemic, there's people that are displaced and disconnected, which affects their livelihood, their education, and their propensity to grow their small and medium businesses. And so we worked on this throughout the whole program. And much like what we heard earlier, as an entrepreneur, it's not always easy navigating the politics of a large corporation, and helping people fundamentally understand the concept, which we'll all grow really familiar with and intimate with, is creating shared value, right? So the concept that it's not just about profitability, but it's also about fundamentally doing good for the world and for business. So we went on our journey, and unfortunately, at the end of it, we sort of struggled to receive the funding to create our first minimum viable product, which would have taken place in India. But we were able to pivot, come up with a smaller scale solution, and it was diffused across the business. And I think our key win would have been to interact with some of our most senior leaders and to create this urgency and this sense of, again, creating shared value. And you asked about learnings. Another thing that we expressed and shared with our leadership team was that the planet is also one of our key stakeholders. So it's not just about shareholders, it's not just about Wall Street and the folks that are looking at the bottom line and the financials, but it's also the world at large. It's also about the underrepresented communities. It's all about the climate change and helping advance the SDGs by 2030. And then finally, one of the last learnings that we had as a team was the importance of SDG 17, partnerships for the goals. And in creating this type of solution of global affordable internet access, we found really quickly that we weren't able to achieve that alone within the private sector, but it took the public sector, it took nonprofits, It took startups and a whole ecosystem of people coming together to try to solve a united mission and goal. So where I'm at now, this is the final question. So when I started YSIP, I was a global communications manager focused on innovation. And now I actually get to get my hands dirty, and I'm fully involved in the ideation process. I heard product market fit earlier and validation, and that's totally a part of what I do. You know, we gather PhDs, researchers from all around the world to tackle some of these really challenging problems. As I mentioned, modern application security is huge at the moment. As all of these devices come online, you know, ensuring that we're secure, people's identities are secure, someone has to think about that. And so we're focused on those things. Secondly, what I've been able to become a part of is a social justice action at Cisco, where we're focused on inclusive innovation and really thinking about how do we drive inclusive from a naming and a language perspective. So at the moment, we're instilling a policy at Cisco where we're removing the words master, slave, blacklist, and whitelist from our vernacular. And that's across code, that's across marketing materials and all other things. And we're also contributing these learnings in the open source technology community, which is fantastic. And finally, I'll leave you with this. Earlier, Robert talked about youth-led innovation is critical for transformation, and I fundamentally believe in that. And that's why at the end of YSIP, I made a commitment to not only focusing on business, but giving back to the community. And that's where First Tech Fund came into the picture, joined as the chairperson there. And to date, we've been able to serve 310 students, raise over $410,000. And then finally, many of our students have gone on to become Gates Millennium Scholars, go to Columbia, Princeton, and many other schools. And these are kids from communities that otherwise would have been overlooked. And finally, if that's not enough, we've also made the SDG partnership with the Global Compact and made the commitment to advance the goals by 2030. So thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for letting me share my story.
Thank you, Jerome, for sharing your story. You mentioned earlier that you were shivering from this, but I think I am now, because testimonials like yours remind me why I do this job every day, reminds us all why we do this job every day at the United Nations Global Compact, and why we really support entrepreneurship and youth innovation, and how individuals like you not only grow through the program itself, but also during their career in general. And this is extremely important, and we're so happy to see this. Thank you so much for sharing this with us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. And now we're going to move from the US to Turkey. We have with us today Emine Yildirim. She's a research and development researcher at Organic Kimya. She has over 5 years experience focusing on research and development projects, applying new technologies to the textile and leather performance solution. And she's interested in also open innovation and contributes entrepreneurship activities and open innovation network groups in Organic Kimya. When she is not researching, because, oh well, all our innovators are so focused on their jobs, but when she is not researching, she loves spending time sailing, yoga, and traveling. Emine, please tell us more about your experience, and thank you for tuning in today.
Thank you, Bruno, for having me. It's an honor to be here to sharing my experiences. I would like to start introduce myself and then going with my challenge with my company. My name is Emine, and I work at Organic Kimya almost for 5 years. I live in Istanbul, Turkey, and when maybe I should start with introducing my company, because we are a water-based polymer producer for different kind of business like textile and leather coating and pressure-sensitive adhesives, and we are B2B company. So at the start of YSIP, in 2021, me and my colleagues from the different disciplines, but our concern was same, how we can accelerate innovative project and brings more breakthrough solutions to the market for sustainable future. Because as a chemical company, we are aware of that the environmental problems, and also we know that companies cannot achieve sustainability targets with only using their inside R&D source. So when we look at some publications, it is clear that companies should expand, should give more importance to the entrepreneurship. And also, we understand that we can find these agile solutions with not only with our source, but we can give some chance to some startups, because we know that startups have agility in business. So we create a project which brings organic chemia and startups together. And with this project, we can share our some sources like our assets or our networks and help them growth. And also we support the entrepreneurship ecosystem. And at the beginning of this project, first of all, we define our pain points and then make some interviews with some startups. And then we, in 2022, we made our first startup investment in a local startup. This local startup actually brings the solution for textile waste. They are defining the textile waste and gives the correct user to use them in a digital ecosystem with using AI. And our solution was related with the SDG 9, Industry, Innovation and Infrastructure. But with our startup investment, now it's not has only impact for the SDG 9, but also has an impact for the other SDGs relevant with the environment. And also this project should be sustained because entrepreneurship is quite important to accelerate innovation. For that reason, we continue our startup collaboration and continue our interviews with them. And I think we will continue years to increase our collaborations. And when I looking my personal experience with YSIP, YSIP taught me that to deep dive into a problem rather than the solution, because we are usually concentrated on solution and we miss some parts. However, I think Lakshmi mentioned about it, but I understand the importance of the user's point of view and also importance of stakeholders and shareholders. And also YSIP expand my perspective about sustainability. And for the company-wise, we start to use some methods which we learn from the program because they are quite effective. And also we are spreading our awareness in the company for the open innovation and the sustainability relation. These are my experience for the program. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Emine. We always talk about loving the problem. That's what we do at the YSIP and now the SDG Innovation Accelerator. And I'm pretty sure that all the innovators tuning in from Turkey today will hopefully connect with you and learn more one-on-one about your experience and potentially seek your help and advice in their innovation journey too. Thanks again.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have from the United Kingdom, Sophie Miles. Sophie is a senior global Internet of Things product manager in Vodafone Business. She's responsible for the business strategy, growth, and global product management for the global IoT agriculture vertical. In addition, she manages the portfolio of IoT E2E solutions in the Vodafone European cluster. She's focused on launching innovative IoT products that help customers use digital, sustainable solutions fit for future growth. She has a very strong passion for finding technological solutions that can support society and businesses in the solving of some of the largest global issues that we are facing. Sophie is currently focused on launching IoT solutions that help fight the global food security challenge and reduce the impact agriculture has on the climate. Sophie has been with Vodafone for over 6 years now, and outside of her job, Sophie mentors women in IoT and business. Sophie, thanks for joining us today. It's an incredible honor that you will be telling us about your experience and actually wrapping up this last channel. So Sophie, over to you.
Thank you very much, Bruna. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And it's great to actually close this. We've heard some amazing speakers, particularly listening to Jerome's and Emily's experience on this fantastic program. I was part of the cohort last year, and it's an experience where you really need to embrace the word perseverance. I've heard it mentioned a few times today. And I think when you're looking at large innovation topics, and particularly what our team found was you can end up becoming very passionate about lots of the different SDG challenges. So when you're first starting out, you go so broad that you might, well, we found that we wanted to do everything, which isn't achievable. So kind of just before we go into the project, I'll explain that I'm from Vodafone Business. Vodafone, you probably don't know, is a telecommunications company, but with a lot of capability that's broader than telecommunications. As Bruna mentioned, I work in Internet of Things, but then we've got vast capabilities across cloud, analytics, big data, into those 5G, those future emerging technologies. And we've also got the Vodafone Foundation. So the Vodafone Foundation has been very successful over previous years on connecting for good across whether that's the planet agenda, digital society. And so for our team, the real question at the start was to say, how can we make an impact through using the tools we're given through the program that's going to add additional value to our business, considering all the great things Vodafone already did. So I would really advise before you go on your journey, actually take the time to reflect on what is your company doing today. There's a vast difference, I think, through the companies that join this cohort, which is also a great thing about the network you build here. So the way we approached it, we were very advanced in some areas already on the SDGs at Vodafone compared to other companies in the cohort where they were on their first journey. But because of the difference in that, you could then actually bounce ideas or take advice or watch how they were approaching it rather than just following the traditional norm that you might actually already see in your business. So kind of from there, what we did was because we already did some analysis, we worked out what was really the core areas of focus for Vodafone globally at the time we started the journey last year. For me, I think this is an important thing to do. And the reason for that is if you want to get backing for an innovation concept, you really need to make it tangible to everybody you speak to and also to the company's values. From my perspective, working for a big corporation, there's always going to be priorities, CapEx constraints, OpEx constraints. So if you're working on a project that's outside the kind of traditional business, they want to back innovation, but you've got to make them believe why. I think Jerome referenced earlier that with a lot of the SDGs, you've got to challenge people's mindset that it's not just about increasing the bottom line, it's about doing that broader good. I'm very lucky to work for a company that does believe in the broader good, but still with any big, large corporate constraints, you're still going to have to fight to get a seat at the table to get that investment. So quickly to what we did, we actually spent a lot of time and we moved a lot through the process. So we embraced that spaghetti journey that you go on, take the time. 9 months might seem like a long time, but it goes very fast. And at the end, we ended up coming up with something called the VB IoT solution. So what we did, we knew that we were going to potentially not have a large pot of investment available. So we wanted to build on existing strengths to add something new. So we already had a global agriculture platform, which is something that is my responsibility. And we decided we were going to create a new IoT end-to-end solution. So a smart beehive where you install sensors into the beehive to integrate that into our global agriculture platform that we already have in-house. So the benefits of that was, one, you are going to be able to create a new data layer within an existing platform. So you're really leveraging on your company's existing capabilities. 2, we were looking at the SDGs number 2, zero hunger, number 15, life on land, and number 17, partnerships. The food security crisis really broke out last year with the war on Ukraine. So we really wanted to make an impact there. And with bees being 80% of the crop's pollinator, we thought, let's do everything we can to reduce the decline of them, but also help farmers, which was the end user for us, use a more natural pollinator so they can actually really go on their journey across digital transformation, enabling better sustainable farming metrics at a time when agriculture is having quite a significant impact on the climate as well. So that was our concept. We took that back in-house. We actually went through the process of creating the business case, starting with a prototype, and we're on the backlog for this year's budget cycle. So hopefully we'll have our prototype set up and we will start actually looking at the data before we scale out. I'm conscious of time, so just a few things, bits of advice that I would give you. My biggest learning, I think, through the YSIT program, beyond perseverance, which anybody that works in innovation, that is your key thing, is you need to have passion and sponsorship. If you don't have the passion behind your idea, nobody's going to start that journey with you. So really make sure you think about what matters to you. And there was a comment about not thinking about you, but thinking about the end user. So I agree with that comment, but you've got to be passionate behind your concept. And then get sponsorship. So sponsorship is integral to increasing the number of voices that are also promoting what your journey, your concept is, instead of it just being you. I find through my day job and also when we did this program, 90% of people might say no, because it's new. They haven't thought that, they're overloaded with their current work job. So when you're, and I think Karen was alluding to this as well, with the communication point, if you have that passion and you can drive communication very clearly to articulate how that becomes tangible to their job, or, you know, it could link not to their job, but, you know, their personally, how does it impact them? I think you're going to have much more success, and people who are also going to get on that journey with you and want to help, because that's the thing. I think with innovation and our SDG goals, the problems we're facing are vast. You've got to think big, but then through thinking big and finding the sponsorship, really be clear on what you're trying to achieve, which I think the best thing that I got out of the YSIT program last year, and I'm taking forward to this day, is the tools and the different workshops you go through to either challenge yourself as to why, dig deep. You think you might have got to the end, but actually maybe you can go 4 layers deeper to really articulate what you are trying to solve. So it was fantastic. And anybody, please reach out. I'm happy to help you guys on your journey. And thank you, Bruna.
Thank you, Sophie. It's so nice to hear that you're actually rolling out this project, and we really count on you to keep us in the loop and tell us about the progress. And we will also make sure to share it with all the innovators so they can see that this is not just an idea, this is not just a program that we are doing just for the sake of doing it, but it actually has some impact and returns that we could actually see in real life. Thanks again, Jerome, Sophie, and Emine. This was so inspirational. I don't know about you innovators, but I was inspired to work more, to deliver more for this program. And I really hope that we will see all of you one day on those calls, sharing about your projects, about your inspirations, about your journeys, your learnings, and really making an impact in your communities, societies, businesses, and wherever you go. So I think with that, it's officially time to launch the SDG Innovation Accelerator for young professionals. As of tomorrow, all of you accelerators will have access to your learning platform. Your country managers will reach out to tell you more about the workshops that Sophie just mentioned, but also all the learning opportunities and tools that you will have that will help you learn more about the various concepts, whether it's breakthrough innovation, breakthrough technologies, and everything else. We really, truly hope that you enjoyed this session. And I also like to thank all the amazing speakers, local networks, and everyone who made this call happen, but also all our supporters that made this this accelerator happen and come to life. Thanks again for your support all the way. And for all of you here on this call, we really hope that you're leaving the session a little bit more inspired and ready to tackle what's ahead of us. We truly wish you the best of luck in your journey, and we can't wait to see what you will accomplish in the next 9 months. Thank you all for joining, and let's stay connected. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.